Back on MorningLine, if you're just joining us, Clint Kelly's with us, malpractice attorney, and with us on the line is Martin. Martin, we want to try to get some more answers from you. Horrible situation where Clint, it sounded like he went to the doctor more than once at the hospital. They kept sending him home thinking he just had a pulled muscle in his back. Finally, they demanded an MRI, and gosh, it's awful. They discovered stage 4 cancer. What do you think?
Yeah, Martin, where's the cancer?
Where is it, Martin?
Kidney cancer.
Kidney cancer.
Renal cell carcinoma is what they call it.
All right. And when was it diagnosed?
It was diagnosed, that I had cancer?
Yeah, when were you told you had cancer?
At an emergency room.
When? This year?
Yeah, it was this year.
I mean, it was within a year. Was it like a couple months ago? Did you find out last week? When did you find out?
When did I find out? I talked to my wife. When did I find out exactly that I had the cancer? September.
Okay. Martin, here's what I want you to do. I want you to call my office after you get off the phone today. It's 615-800-0000, and you'll speak to one of my paralegals there that does the intakes on my medical malpractice cases, and she'll take a background of information from you. I want to have an opportunity to get more information from you on this. It'd take too long on the show today, but you did the exact right thing, which is calling soon, because it's September when you found out. You're well within the statute of limitations, and it gives plenty of time for me to investigate it.
So, Martin, make that call. We'll talk a little more about it here just amongst ourselves, and then you call Clint's office and listen, how are you doing? Are you getting treatment for your cancer right now?
Yeah, I'm doing radiation treatments. I got to go today. A few hours.
How old are you? How old are you, Martin?
I did 65.
65. Okay. Listen, you take care of yourself, and listen. Make sure you call Clint when you get a chance today, and fill in on more of these details.
Yeah.
And I wish him well. That's so sad. All right, Clint. What is it that you're going to look at on a case like this?
Well, first thing I want to do is find out a better timeline of how this happened. I understand it happened over the course of 3 years, but I want to get more information about the background, who's treating him for the cancer. He said it was at Southern Hills. I want to find out, when he went as best he can remember, and also get the medical records from Southern Hills and try to find out, is there a way to relate the back pain to the kidney cancer? I would presume also there were other things going on. Your creatinine levels could be changing. That's what the kidney controls. Kidney's just basically your water treatment plant in your body.
Filter.
And it gives signals, in the blood, signals in the body. So the question here is, was the back pain or other symptoms that Martin was showing in the emergency room suggestive of cancer? Why wasn't it ruled out if it was? Can I prove that he would have gotten a better outcome had he been diagnosed earlier? The answer is probably yes to that. And then what are going to be the damages? He's having radiation treatment. He's going to have chemotherapy. The radiation has the effect of trying to shrink the cancer. The chemotherapy works to try to get rid of the cancer. Stage 4 is tough.
Here's my thing. Okay, if it was one time, again, he says he's a landscaper. That's physical work. He goes in and he goes to the doctor and he says back pain. The doctor maybe pokes around, feels him, and just says, well, it's probably a pulled muscle. Take a pain pill, go home. Doesn't go away. But he said he went back several times before his wife finally threw a fit and said, do more.
Right.
I mean, I guess I'm trying to say that one time, the doctor misses it. He does landscaping work. I don't really think that's like not standard of care. But where do you look at the violation of standard of care? At some point, should they have drawn blood? Or at some point, should they have done an MRI when he continued to complain about the pain? If they didn't draw blood, they wouldn't know if there's a different count from the blood from the kidney, right?
Correct.
But what would standard of care be someone who's complaining of back pain, which can be caused by a lot of things? The last thing I would think about is stage 4 cancer.
Well, if you zoom out 30,000 feet and look at the big picture, you have to ask yourself, why is this patient coming in repeatedly with the same symptom, and we're just giving him pain medication and he's not getting better? There's some patients that come to the emergency room, they're what we call pill seekers. They're just hunting for pills. But when you got a guy like Martin, and you can just tell by listening to him, he doesn't fall in that category, who's coming in consistently with the same issue, and they're not fixing the issue. It's time to kind of go back and say, okay, let's reassess this guy.
Again, this is not a 30-year-old. This is a guy in his 60s. And so you're thinking, well, okay, 60s.
And I also want to know, what kind of imaging are they doing? They found this by MRI. How many MRIs, if any, were done previously?
And
or CT scans?
Yeah. And I've heard, I mean, I know for a fact that kidney cancer can cause back pain.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
for
that's a no-brainer. Now, a lot of other things can cause back pain. So this is a case you'll look at. You'll have to let us know next time you come on if it seems like there's something. And Martin, you make that call. And the good thing about whenever you do check in with Clint's office, they'll take the information, he'll look at it, and he'll tell you. You'll get back. You won't just say, I have more people call me say, oh, call this attorney, told him I never heard back from him.
Yeah, no, I can promise you that for everybody who calls into my office about a potential medical malpractice case, I will get back to them either on the phone or in writing to let them know what I think about the case. And if I do take the case, then I'll have that client come in, or we'll do a Zoom call, and I'll take them through the process of how to have a formal expert review. So for example, in Martin's case, what I'd probably do is have an ER physician expert, and I've got 2 of them in North Carolina. They're always in other states because you can't get them here in Tennessee. Yeah. But I'll have an ER expert look at his care to determine was there a violation of the standard of care. And then the second expert I'll have is an oncologist, that's a cancer doctor, who will look at the case and decide, had Martin been diagnosed earlier, assuming he should have been, what difference would it make in his outcome? Would he be more treatable? Would the cancer be removed? God forbid, I hope Martin survives this, but if he doesn't, one big question would be, if he'd been diagnosed earlier, would he have survived? Yeah. You know, I don't know enough about Martin's case, but those are the issues that come up
based
when I get
on what you say
review.
there. That second point, the big point is going to be standard of care, because if there was a violation of that, he was going in for 3 years, and he has stage 4. There's a no-brainer that he would have had a better result had they caught it 3 years ago. Which we know, the sooner you attack a cancer, the better chance you have at living.
Nick, that's where
I know. I'm just saying.
You got to have an oncologist.
I understand why you go that route, but I think that part of it, the question for me will be the standard of care and whether or not they should have caught this, or hey, it's something that...
And I'm glad you mentioned it, because there are 2 components to this. It's the violation of the standard of care, the violation of the rule, if you will. And then secondly, did it cause an injury or lead to an injury that otherwise wouldn't have happened had the standard of care been followed?
There you go. Gosh, it's going to be interesting. And I wish him the best. Before we have to wrap things up, I know you and our own Jennifer Krause, our I-Team investigative team here, working on a COVID nursing home case. I know that you've met with her, and we have a story coming up with her on this. You represent several clients in this. Yeah,
I've got 25 cases pending against the Gallatin Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. It's a nursing home in downtown Gallatin. They were the nursing home that had that massive COVID outbreak. You remember that night on the weekend? We saw the ambulances,
moving everyone out.
Yeah, getting the massive evacuation.
It was awful.
What we have learned in general in those cases is that they failed to screen their employees and visitors who were coming to the facility, and we think that's how the COVID got in there. And then because they weren't wearing masks and using PPE properly, it spread like wildfire through the facility.
Among the most vulnerable out there.
The most vulnerable. They even write in their email that their own patients, their residents, are the most vulnerable people to this virus.
The case will always stick with me because I have parents in a very similar type of assisted living facility in Boise, Idaho, and I remember checking to see what kind of protocols, and the vast majority of them did a fine job.
Right.
And my parents were safe, and
that can't be said enough, Nick. The vast majority did an outstanding job here in Tennessee.
But it scared me, and if I found out that it was like this, I'd be furious.
This facility had more COVID-related fatalities than all the other facilities in Tennessee combined. Think about that, combined.
So what is the status of the case?
We're in the process right now of discovery, and we've already set up our first deposition of a state official that got the data from the
But that means you've already sent the letter saying, look, this is what we have, and would you like to discuss a settlement? And they're kind of like, let's go to court?
Yeah, well, we negotiated with them, and negotiation's fluid, okay? It changes.
I guess I understand that, but
let's just say we have not come anywhere near to terms of what we think is proper settlement for these residents, and until we do, we keep
some residents that died. You're representing families of residents who died, and there were others that became very ill, correct?
Yeah, 14 of them died.
Yeah.
The rest of them were injured badly from it, had to go through a lot of pain and anguish in the hospital from having the virus, and none of these people should have ever gotten the virus had the nursing home done its job.
You talked about how doctors have malpractice insurance. What do nursing homes have?
Oh, yeah, they've got insurance, too.
So they'll have insurance on this front as well. So you're dealing with the insurance companies?
The question is, do they have good insurance? Because some of them have cheap insurance, and that's, unfortunately, in the nursing home business, it's regulated to a large extent, but not regulated enough.
Now, if the cheap insurance doesn't meet what you can win, what do? Just shut down the nursing home and have them sell everything and get the money out of that?
Yeah, they pay out of their own pocket rather than having the insurance pay, or some combination of the two. My point is, I don't think any nursing home should be doing business without sufficient insurance.
Right. Those cheapens, great point.
Yeah.
All right, just to remind folks again, the number on the screen that we had up there,
6158 million. It's easy to remember. My office is in Hendersonville, but I take cases all over Middle Tennessee. KellyFirm.net is our website. You can go there to get whatever information you need. But always remember this: the phone call is free, and nobody pays a dime unless I recover money for them.
That's exactly right. By the way, you practice primarily in the state courts. Are you in federal court sometimes?
Yes. Yeah. Well, these exact tech cases, they're going to be federal cases.
They're federal cases because they can go across state line.
Yes.
And yeah, the whole idea of, again, keep in mind, he's a lawyer. He makes a living doing that. There have been cases sometimes, and Martin's probably not one of them, but where there was a wrong done, but you decided you couldn't take it simply because there wasn't enough damage to make it financially feasible.
That's correct.
That happens.
It's just
That's
part
an
of the
unfortunate thing there. It's like, yeah, you were done wrong, but you recovered, and there's no damages here. I can't sue because there's no money to be made.
That happens in most cases, actually, Nick. Most people make enough of a recovery where, these cases cost $100,000 of my money to bring, and I'm more than happy to do it, but I got to do it in a case where the damages are enough where, first of all, the jury will want to compensate, and secondly, it makes it financially worthwhile. Otherwise, I'd have to be a divorce lawyer. I mean, I
don't want to do that.
So I have to be very picky about the cases I take.
Gotcha. Clint, thank you.
Good to see you.
As always, pleasure seeing you. We'll see you again soon, all right?
We'll wait for the jury to come back on the elections.
Yeah, there you go. That's what we're waiting for. Folks, we'll take a break. I'll be back with a programming note about tomorrow right after this. Thanks.